What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. This is the show where I teach podcasters how to love their podcast like a hobby and build it like a business. And today we are diving into that business. This is a unique conversation. You guys know I love unique conversations on this show. I've got my buddy, my new pod pal, Jack, born from Deadline Funnel. And this is something that I'm really interested in. I'm on a mission in 2022 to automate more of my marketing. I'm really good at relationship building. I'm really good at like face-to-face, one-on-one conversations, but I'm running out of daylight. So I need to get more efficient. I need to optimize my marketing so that some things are working while I sleep. And Jack is somebody in his company. They help people do that. So Jack, welcome to Podcasting Business School, man.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here, Adam.
Well, I'm jealous. You're in Australia. I'm in Indiana. The weather here, like 2 days ago, it was like 9 degrees and there were like 12 inches of snow. And today it's 60 degrees. It's back and forth. It's a mess. But like I'm totally jealous of the Australia situation right now, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna twist the knife a little bit. So Saturday I did some scuba diving with a buddy of mine, and then later in the afternoon, no lie, I did some kite surfing. So it kind of made me think like I was several meters or feet below the surface of the water in the morning, several feet above the water as I was doing my jumps kite surfing in the afternoon. We have some good weather going on right now. Yeah. But on the flip side, it's 5:45 a.m. right now, so hopefully.
You're up and at it early today to do the podcast.
I've already got a face for radio, so like right now I feel like it's twice as bad. But hey, I'm here to bring the info.
That's right. And like I said, like the topic that you cover with Deadline Funnel, the area that you serve with that movement that you're doing. Really, that's the way I explain it. I've been digging into what you're doing. I'm like, this isn't just like marketing. This is the marketing movement to do something unique and different. So let's start at the beginning. Like, how did you decide to dive in with Deadline Funnel? What was the why behind creating that whole movement there?
Yeah, so I'm gonna compress time down so that we can get into the good stuff. But basically, I was working with another marketing guy named Perry Marshall, super brilliant guy. He's got several books in Amazon. Quick shout out to Perry. If you haven't read his 80/20 sales and marketing book, that's one of the many that you need to go check out. It's applicable to anyone. I get paid nothing to say that. It's just a great book. So I was working on his team, and I also had some side ventures that I was building up, and I had been following, his methodology for some time. And this is going to sound kind of crazy because we all know that the way that you want to build your business is you want to build up that audience. For a lot of people, that's an email list. For other people, there's different ways to have your audience, but you want to start gathering the world into some place where you can talk to them, sort of like your podcast, right? But, podcast, email lists. So let's just talk about email lists. So this lead generation concept. There was a time back in the day where clicks were so cheap that a lot of people were like, build an email list. Like, I'll just send cheap click to my sales page, and there we go. Off we go. But Perry was a big believer in developing know, like, and trust, and having this email list. And so, being a student of his, it just made sense to me. So I was a big believer as well. I was also a student of psychology and Robert Cialdini, all the things. And so social proof and liking and all of these things that we want to develop as we're bringing someone from a complete stranger over to becoming a client. So one of the triggers that I saw we weren't using, and I wasn't using because there was no way to do it correctly, was scarcity and deadlines. And the reason being was because, timers existed. And some people would put those countdown timers on their sales page to try to basically trick people into making a quick decision. But you come back the next day, it was all, I'm talking like 6, 7, 8 years ago or earlier. And so I thought, well, what if you could actually combine the two? What if you could actually set it up so that as someone goes through that email sequence, we have some information, we have tags, we know their email address. There should be a way to be able to say, okay, this is going to be a 7-day sequence, and there's going to be a deadline to actually make that deadline personalized to that person based on when they came in. Sort of like everyone starts in that email sequence based on when they opt in for your lead magnet or register for your webinar. So why can't we have a deadline that actually is true and legit, but it's automated? So I went about searching for it, figuring someone has to figure this out, right? I'll just sign up for their deal. And the more I searched, the more I realized, no, in fact, no one has that. No one has figured that out. No one's even tried to crack that code. And so I decided, yeah, I'm gonna solve this, because this is something that I want. This is something that also I know Perry wants. And then later on, it occurred to me there might be other people who want this as well. So that was the birth of Deadline. But it came fundamentally from this idea of, okay, I don't want to have to choose between, on the one hand, I could do something that is one of the most effective ways to get someone who's interested in your message to make a decision using deadlines and urgency and scarcity. Like, I could choose that, but at the same time, I would have to be, sacrificing my integrity. I didn't want to have to make that choice. If we could get rid of that false choice through technology, then I could use it. And along with the same reason why I use, social proof in my emails, the same reason, we use all the other things. This is just one of the most effective ways to get someone who's leaning into your message to actually take the action. And the biggest thing standing in the way for a lot of heart-centered entrepreneurs is, I just don't want to tell someone that this is the deadline and it actually not be the deadline. So that's
Right.
we solve that problem.
So I've been there, man. Like, I've been in that exact spot where I'm like, I know I'm supposed to have like this deadline thing, but if like it never aligned with the way I like to do business. I was like, I know there needs to be scarcity. It's like for a limited time, and now we're down to the last 2 spots or whatever. And I was just like, I feel like I'm just full of BS doing this. It didn't feel good, so I just quit doing it, and I stopped adding things with scarcity. So can you dive into like how this actually works? Like, how do we create true like evergreen scarcity with deadline funnel, and like the best applications of how this is actually being pulled off?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to point out that the way that you message the deadline, doesn't have to be, it can be aggressive. It can be, it's just really to your style. And I'm not going to say one way is right, one way is wrong. I will say that what is wrong is telling someone that isn't something that isn't true. Okay. So that is something that I believe is wrong. So we've solved that. But in terms of like, okay, but exactly how am I going to sound when I talk about the deadline? Because I think you kind of touched on that. So to just pick up on that just a little bit, you can be aggressive, or you could be a lot more casual. Like, someone's going through your email sequence and you say, hey, listen, I like to give first-time subscribers a killer extra bonus because you've never done business with me before. And you're interested, you're obviously reading this email, you've been watching the videos. So I know that you're interested in this, and I know that it's changed other students' lives, but we have this issue where you don't know, like, can I actually have, can I actually be hopeful that this is going to work for me? Well, that's why I offer this special deal that, you can buy this course, this product at any time on my website. Go check it out. But you'll notice right here, right now, from this special link, there's a special price and there's a special extra bonuses. But like all good things, it comes to an end. So, check it out, ask whatever questions, come chat with my team. But just know that tomorrow night at midnight, this is going to be over. And, you can buy it any time. But if you want this special deal, like, the deadline for that special offer is right now. Okay. And so it's kind of this, like, you're letting the pressure off. Like, look, if this is not the right time, you can come buy this thing anytime that you want. You can come and enroll sometime down the future. We might run this promotion again. You might have this promotion in front of you maybe a year from now or whatever. But if this really excites you, yeah, like, all good things come to an end, and the deadline is tomorrow night. Like, it's a way more laid back, casual way of talking about it. Now, what I was just kind of messaging on the fly is just one way to do it. So we have just every type of funnel under the sun. When people show up on our doorstep, they're using pretty much every different type of, page builder or email software system. So we've seen it all. So I was just describing one way that you could do it. There's other ways that you can implement deadline funnel in your business, whether it's a launch, whether it's a webinar series, whether the product and offer isn't actually available at any other time. And there's really only a small enrollment window for that individual to take action on it. But I think what you were touching on two things, like how do you actually talk about it? And we covered that. I think the other thing was, how do you make sure that the deadline is real and accurate? And I don't want this to turn into a commercial for deadline funnel, but like that's honestly what we solve. Like, I'll tell a quick story just to make this a little bit entertaining, because at the time I didn't actually know if this was going to work. So we already mentioned I'm living in Australia, and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to, like, I was sort of thinking, like, okay, what would be the perfect demonstration that someone would just remove all doubt that, like, okay, but will that technology like really work? Like, what if they clear their cookies? What if they get changed to a different device? Like, all these different questions. And like, it's one thing for my team to go, no, well, we have this blah, 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 technobabble. So what would be a cool demonstration? So the idea that I came up with pre-COVID, okay, was I'm in the US visiting family, and I thought, okay, I need to buy an iPad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be in the airport. I did this, I filmed this. I'm like, okay, I'm in the airport. It's like 5 a.m. We're about to hop on our flight over to Brisbane. And here I am. I'm starting as a new prospect in this email sequence. And I'm going to jump on the plane. I'll see you over there. So we fly over. 2 days later, I've kind of recovered from jet lag. My daughter and I get into our car with the steering wheel on the wrong side, the Australian side, and we drive a few hours to the Apple store. We go to the Apple store, and I'm like, Addie, turn on the camera. So I'm unboxing the iPad. I take it out. It's brand new. Angels sing. And, I hit the button to transfer everything over. I open up Gmail to see, like, is the countdown timer in the email going to be showing the correct time? And like, I'm pretty confident that it will, but I'm not like 100%. Like, there's that tiny little sliver of doubt in the back of my mind. I'm like, this is going to be a long time before I can do this demo again. If I screwed something up, this is going to suck. So I've open up the email, and sure enough, there's only like 5, or I forget exactly how many hours left, but it was the correct amount of time. So I flew all the way around the world, completely new device, no cookies, obviously, because this thing just came out of the wrapper, came out of the box. And, and so that was one of those demonstrations where you watch this, and I would think it would remove any bit of skepticism. So the idea is, you don't want your people to be in line, say at Starbucks, and they open up their phone. They're like, okay, what am I going to read? And they're reading your emails. They're like, oh, that's right, today's the last day. And they read that on their iPhone, and then they click through, and the countdown timer shows 7 days left. And you're like, what the hell is this? What is Adam doing? This is crap.
Yeah.
Right? You want them to have that experience where it says, it ends in just a few hours. They click through, and everything from if you have the countdown timer on the sales page and the order page and all the pages, like, everything is all lined up. And so that's what our system does.
That's nice. So I know that you don't want this to be a commercial for Deadline Funnel, but I do need, I feel like this is a tool that we need to kind of take a deep dive into, because this could be super effective and solve a lot of podcaster problems, as I like to call them. So
yeah.
We aren't always a lot of podcasters are new to being solopreneurs. We're figuring all this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
So tools like this, it really does solve a lot of issues for us. Can you talk about like the psychology behind the deadline? Like, why does this actually work when it's done correctly and done respectfully and truthfully? Like, why does this actually work? Like, I bought a pair of pants the other day off an Instagram story, and it popped up, and it was like very similar. Like, they may even be one of your clients, but it was just like the little pop-up said, hey, you can have this pricing now. Or if you buy within the next, however, I forget how much it was. I just went and bought it. But they're like, you can have it now, or you can get it for the regular price whenever. And then the options were like, yes, buy now, or no, I want to pay more. So like, it was kind of funny the way that they worded it. But anyway, like, why does the psychology of this work and help convert leads into sales?
Yeah. So I'll try to answer this quickly, but I still want to tell a story, and I hope we bring it around. Give me an opportunity to bring this around, or ask me a question that talks about how podcasters could start to use this,
Oh yeah.
and we can connect some dots. Okay, so I'm certainly not a PhD shrink, psychiatrist, or I haven't studied at Ivy League schools or anything like that. However, let me tell you a quick story. I was walking, I was walking with my wife and my black lab Ollie to the beach, and we got to the part where you get on the trail and there's some garbage cans and things like that. And someone had taken, keep in mind we're in Australia, someone where all the deadly animals live. Someone had taken, I want to say it was like a 5 foot snake skin, and they had draped it over one of the posts on the walkway. Okay. So my wife's like, check out that snake skin. I'm getting a little chills just thinking about it. Now, my dog is about 2 years old, and my dog has never seen a snake, and certainly never seen a snake skin. And my dog, being curious, kind of goes up to the snake skin that's draped over the post, and he gets close to it. And about a centimeter before his nose touched the snake skin, all of the hairs on the back of his back between his shoulder blades went up on end, and he like backpedaled a few steps. Like something inside of him said danger. This wrinkled up thing. Like how there had to be something wired deep into his brain that told him, I've never seen this before, but back up, right? In the same way, it's wired into us that things that are about to be taken away from us are resources that we want to make sure that we protect. Like somewhere back when we were all around the campfire, we had our resources, and we needed to make sure that people weren't going to come into our camp and take our stuff. We also knew that as we were searching for the things that were going to sustain us, that the things out in the environment that we needed were the things that were most scarce. We had to work for them. Like they weren't just readily available. Like it wasn't like things just like there were things that grew on trees, but like you had to go hunt the saber-toothed tiger. Like you had to like spend time doing it. It was rare, and so you needed to be able to search these things out. And so I think something along those lines wired this into our system from a long time ago, that things that are scarce automatically are considered valuable. Things that we have, we don't want taken away from us. And so those are actually two different kind of psychological effects. But these things have been studied in labs over and over and over again. And there have been some strange studies, like, for example, I'll just mention one. There's probably like 20 of them I've memorized, but one of them that's kind of interesting. If you can imagine a really large room of seats, like it could be a movie theater, but I'm talking about, this was at a psychology 101 classroom at a big university. So imagine there's a big row down the middle. So there's a left side and a right side, and there's hundreds of people in this room. Now, try not to freak out with this picture that I'm painting because of COVID and all that, just like pre-COVID. Okay. So one side of the room is given the school coffee, like a coffee mug with the school's logo on it. Like, it's not the most expensive gift in the world, but everyone on that side of the room gets the gift. Everyone on the other side of the room is looking over at that side like, oh, I wish I was sitting, I chose the wrong side to sit on. So the test that was set up was everyone gets a piece of paper with one question on it, but one side has a different question than the other side. So the side of the room that doesn't have the coffee mug says, hey, how much would you be willing to pay? What would you pay to buy that coffee mug that you don't have? And then the other half of the room got a similar question, but it was worded differently. How much would you have to be paid for you to give up the coffee mug that was given to you? Now, keep in mind, they didn't have to work to get the coffee mug. They didn't previously pay to get the coffee mug. They got it for free. But the way the question was answered and the way that the whole situation was set up doubled the price of the coffee mug in the eyes of the people who already had it. They valued it at an average of $450. Like, you would have to pay me $450 to give this thing up. People on the other side said, nah, it's a coffee mug. Like, I would pay $225 on average for me to get the coffee mug. So how could you use this? One way that you can use this, even if you don't use deadline funnel, even if you don't use a deadline, you can still language what you have to the people who are interested in what you're offering to them in terms of something that they already have. How can you do that? Well, because they have an opportunity in front of them. They have an opportunity to enroll in your podcasting school, let's say. So you could say something like, hey, this is your opportunity. If you've ever wanted to be able to reach a huge audience and to be able to to be able to bring people to you who are excited about your message, who are tuning into you week after week after week. This is your opportunity right now. It is in your hands. You have it right now. Plus, I've added in this bonus and this bonus and this bonus, and you've got this special pricing. You have the golden ticket to what you've been looking for in your hands right now. But it can slip through your fingers, and it will slip through your fingers if you delay. If you delay, I'll use the deadline example. If you delay, then at midnight tonight, this opportunity in your hands is going to slip through your fingers, and you're going to miss out on the bonuses. You're going to miss out on the special deal, and you're going to miss out on the opportunity to come hang out with all the same people, all the people that are joining the podcasting school at the same time that you are. And it's going to be so much fun, and you're going to miss out on that. And that's something that the opportunity is in your hands. I can't make you take that step. You're the one who has to take that step, and it's you have that opportunity. You have the key in your hands right now. So by languaging it like that, you can help someone understand that they have that golden ticket to be able to change their life. That's why people buy your course. It's not because of the number of modules that you have. It's not because of the group coaching. I mean, these are the things that, yes, they're important. They're components of what you offer. They're pieces of the delivery mechanism, but the delivery mechanism is the bridge to get them to that better place, that better version of themselves, that better version of their life. They want that transformation. And so you need them to see that they have the opportunity to transform their lives. But if they wait, if they delay, it's going to go away. And so that's one way that you can use this psychology, even if you don't have a deadline, because even without a deadline, there's procrastination, there's, just getting busy. And so even if you don't have a deadline, you can say, look, what's going to happen is if you don't take this opportunity, things are going to come up. You're going to get on Instagram. You're going to forget about things. You're going to move on to the next shiny object, and you're going to lose this opportunity. You're going to forget about it, or you're going to think 6 months from now, damn, why didn't I sign up for that? The opportunity is in your hands right now. So even without a deadline, you can still use what's called in psychology, the endowment effect, this idea that we want to hold on to things that we have. That's why the coffee mug was valued twice as much. So anyways, that ended up being a longer answer than I was expecting, but hopefully that gives everyone an idea of some of the psychology behind this.
That's what we needed to hear, Jack. That is exactly what we needed to hear. So I want to keep rolling with the podcaster application.
Yeah.
And maybe even before we dive deep into that, I know one question that I have that I know my listeners probably have is like the process, the integration. Like, is this like we put a shout out on our show and we send somebody to a call to action, a link? Can we still have them opt in with our email service provider? And does Deadline Funnel integrate into that? Like, how does that marriage work? Or do we have to send them directly to a Deadline Funnel landing page? Let's talk about that just a little bit, like the logistics of how it all rolls out.
Yeah. So sometimes it's not the sexiest description, but sometimes I refer to Deadline Funnel as the Zapier of urgency. So it plugs into all the things. So you don't have to change anything that you're doing. It's just something that boosts what you already have. And to that point, I want to also point out urgency, deadlines, scarcity, Deadline Funnel will increase. It's an accelerant, but you can't multiply at zero. As Perry Marshall used to say all the time when I was working on his team, you can't steer a parked car. You've got to have an offer that is resonating with your audience. So if your offer fundamentally isn't resonating, or if you're going after the wrong audience, you need copywriting at least 101, and you need to have something that people want. And then once you have that, then what we're talking about today can dramatically increase that. And I'm going to come back to your answer, but quick example of what is possible. Your results will vary. But Abby Ashley is one of my favorite testimonials. I was interviewing her, and she was talking about how her business was doing $10,000 a month, a very, very solid, nice business. And her coach said, hey, in order to really make this thing work, you need to add in Deadline Funnel. Okay, she adds in Deadline Funnel, and you can see on the video on our website, she says, what I love about this story is that as she's telling it, she is so animated. She's talking from her soul. She's not reading some sort of ransom note or anything like that. She is pumped up. And she said, I tell you what, I didn't do any extra traffic. I didn't do anything else. I just added Deadline Funnel, and I went from $10,000 a month to $60,000 per month. I'm like, holy crap. That is freaking phenomenal. Now, again, that's not the only time I've heard something like that, but not everyone gets that type of result. But the point is that she already had something cooking, and this really just turned up the heat. Now, I want to get back on track talking about how, so you were asking about the tools. Deadline Funnel integrates with all the tools. So let me talk about, so I'm sure in podcasting school, you teach your students how to basically have their own ad for their own stuff. I've
Right.
seen Chris Willicks from Modern Wisdom podcast as one example. He put together a PDF of his 100 favorite books. And this is something that for his audience, this is really, really enticing. Tim Ferriss has his 5 Bullet Friday. So there's some sort of call to action like, hey, if you're really enjoying the show, you definitely want to get on my email list, but I got a goodie for you. It's the 100 books that you got to read, the next 100 books that you need to read. Go opt in at page here. So they go and they opt in. Now, I'm not saying that either one of the people that I just mentioned is one of our clients, but just as an example of how you do the call to action. And then so someone's going to go sign up for that cool freebie that they want that really resonates with them. And when they do, one simple thing that you could do on the back end would be that you could have, instead of just thank you, go check your inbox, wah, 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 like that's okay. But what if you use that momentum while they're excited and say, hey, look, an email is on its way to your inbox, and that's going to be waiting for you. But before you go, right now, there's something that I normally don't do. And in fact, this is the only opportunity that you're going to see this, because I've got this incredible module, like this incredible training course that you'll be hearing about in a few days called the Podcasting Business School. But I never ever took any one of those modules out because they work really well together. But there's one module, there's one class that by far is the most exciting class that has the quickest benefit for all of my students. So what I've done is I've plucked that out, and right here, right now, for $37, could be any price that you want. For $37, you can get access to this. And if you decide to take action on that and you like that, then there's a special offer that means that if you want the entire course, later on, I'll follow up some additional information where once you check that out, if you decide, yeah, I'm in, like, how can I get my hands on the entire meal? Well, essentially what we'll do is we'll take your investment and we'll double it up so that essentially your decision today costs you nothing. And I've got a 30-day money back guarantee. But you've got to choose on this page right now. Why am I doing it on this page? Because you just came from my podcast. You just signed in for this thing. And I know right now you are in my world. And I just want to take you one step deeper into my world, because once you become a client and you see what I have to offer, your life is going to change. And so I want to make this like an easy baby step into my world. I hope you'll take action. But you might notice there's a countdown on this page. I would like to reward action takers, so pull the trigger while you're on this page before that damn deadline takes this thing away from you. So there you go. So transcribe that, put it into your own words. And that's how you could take something where you have, like, it's so super simple, right? You don't have to create anything new. Take something out of your existing course that you have, or something that is super powerful. Maybe you did a private consult and you have the ability to share that, or share a piece of that, like something that they can uniquely only get on this thank you page because they just signed up. Because what you're doing is you're continuing that momentum. They went from a passive listener, or maybe this is their 12th time listening to your show. Now they're like, yeah, you know what? I need to go sign up for that thing. So then they leave, their iPhone, or maybe they go on their iPhone, but however they get to your page, now they've taken that extra step. They give you their name, they give you their email, and now they're on the thank you page. All you're doing is just continuing that momentum. What will break that momentum, or at least throw in some roadblocks, is to just go, hey, thank you for signing up. Now, go check your inbox. Go away, go check your inbox because it's over there. Like, continue the momentum, keep them excited, and bring them one step closer into your world. So does that help explain how a podcaster could do this?
Oh, yes. And you are I'm in the zone with you because the questions are unpacking themselves. The next level I'm going to go to is best practice recommendations with both a pricing range. Like, what works better? Like the $37 offer or the $3,700 offer? And then also, what do we offer? Is it an automated course? Is it a coaching session? Is it a membership? Do you see, so pricing and type of offer that you see working the best with Deadline Funnel?
Oh, wow. That's a big topic. So let me give some guidelines. So we all hate the answer, you got to test. But I will give some guidelines, like some starting points. So we've thrown out the number 37. Like there's no magic in ending in a 7, ending in a 9. Some studies say that there is, but look, you're not going to see a huge difference. Like price it at, like, so if we're talking about they've gone from listening to your show to now they've opted in, you want to offer something that is not going to give them sticker shock. Now, what that is for your space, so we use the number, I'll just keep using the number 37. So in the fitness space, typically, just because of the way that other people are pricing stuff, $37 or maybe $47 is kind of the beginner range for the full course. So if someone is selling a training product on how to lose weight or how to be flexible, typically you'll see prices, this may have changed, but for at least some time, like there might be 3 options and the lowest paid option was like $37 or $47. And then it went up from there. But it wasn't typically thousands of dollars, right? And so you want to be mindful of your audience. Whereas if you're selling advice on how to build your business or a podcasting school, offering for $37 when your main course is, I don't know, $2,500, and I would mention that. I would say, look, the main course is $2,500 normally. And we got clients coming through all the time who are thrilled because they're getting a huge ROI and they're launching the business and transforming their lives. But rather than making you wait, go through the material and then make a decision on that, I'm giving you an opportunity to get a little piece of that, the best piece of that right now, like one of the best pieces right now for $37. Now, I don't know if that's the right price or not, but that huge price comparison makes it a no-brainer. But for some other market, that no-brainer price might be $7. Now, what I've talked about, I just want to be super clear. I wanted to give everyone listening, especially someone who's podcasting, a really simple and easy way to take what they're probably already doing or something that is super, super simple and to be able to execute on it, because 90% done doesn't give you any new clients. Like you want something that you can say, okay, I took that idea that I heard from Adam and Jack, I implemented it in an afternoon, and the next day it's working, it's already going. And so that's what you could do with this. Now, from there, you're going to get excitement to be able to say, okay, what can I do with this next? Like now, like if it's you, Adam, maybe you've got a 10-day email sequence that then introduces them to the entire, the entire course. And so you would take them through that email sequence on whatever email system you're already using, and then use Deadline Funnel to let them, to enforce that personalized deadline and let Deadline Funnel do that work for you. And so you develop that know, like, and trust. And you lay out the social proof, you do the frequently asked questions, maybe even do, a weekly, Q&A for people who are going through that, that process. And then you've got decision time. Like, hey, you can buy this at any time, but right now, because you just enrolled on the course and you went through these videos, you get a special price and a special deal right now. And so, how you structure the offer really, there's so many ways that we could do a 4-hour class or longer on all the different ways that you can tweak and change the offer. But the basics that I would say would be that if you're going for the maximum enrollment, I would say use both a discount, a real discount, and also bonuses. And so the way that I like to do it, it's not the only way, but the way that I like to do it is to be able to have the course or the coaching program or whatever it is available all the time, that anyone can just rock up to the website and go, like, forget signing up for the email. I just like, where do I hit the buy button and buy this? And people will do that. But for people who are going through your email sequence and reading your emails and watching your videos and attending your webinars, etc., I would have a special price with extra bonuses and then have a deadline, because an offer without a deadline, in my opinion, is not really an offer. Because if I can get your special deal anytime, like, how is it special, right? And so that's another key thing that I want to communicate is, it's having a, extra bonuses or a special price without a deadline. Like, that's not an offer. You need to have a deadline on your offer, or it's not an offer. So did I answer some of the questions about pricing?
And I
Okay.
started laughing when we mentioned that you could do a 4-hour workshop on this, because I've already decided in my head that I'm going to convince you to come inside my Download Growth Club membership, shameless plug, and do a
Okay.
little workshop where we dig deep on how to apply deadline funnels
Yeah,
as podcasters. So that's going to
absolutely.
happen. Get signed up for Download Growth Club. Scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. Let me give you a real life example of how my wheels are turning on this. And let me allow you to pick it apart or add or tweak. So obviously I've got the show. I've got a solid call to action that people are opting into called my podcast growth scorecard. It's a free
Mhm.
download.
Yeah,
I've
love it.
gamified podcast marketing. It's simple. And I see plugging in a deadline funnel off of that with, a sub $50 offer that is a kind of like a highlight, a best of my Download Growth Club. Inside the Download Growth Club, we do biweekly live meetings, small group coaching, and challenges and all that. But I've got an 80 video course. I want to take maybe the top 5, 6 videos and create a mini course, the best of, and that's the sub $50 offer with the deadline funnel. And then I've already got set up an 18 email sequence that lasts, 60-ish days, that drips some more value. And along the way, there are some, some calls to action to get into the Download Growth Club. So how does that sound? What do you think? What would you change?
Yeah, so I'm going off the cuff, and I haven't seen these videos, but here's my initial reaction. My initial reaction is, it feels like you might be offering too much, and I don't say that from the standpoint of, oh, you don't want to actually help people transform their lives. My point is that if you are offering them something where, how long would they have to, like, if I just Netflix binge watch these things back to back to back, how long would it take?
I mean, my training videos are all less than 10 minutes long.
Mm,
I mean, we could include some of like the workshop style ones that are an hour long. So maybe
mm.
a little mix and match. Like what feels good total hour, like how many minutes or hours of content would you set a goal for me to put into this mini course?
Yeah, I mean, I would. Here's well, I was thinking in terms of how much time, like, what I look at it, the way that I'm looking at it is, how can you deliver that wow experience, like a mini wow, all right, um, without overwhelming them, and how quickly can you do it? Okay. And so that's really what it comes down to. It's not how much like, oh, like, I want to impress them with, like, if you paid $50 and look at everything that you got. Well, but if you overwhelm them, there's a good chance that they're actually going
Sure.
to get stuck, and so they're like, well, I don't really need to buy your entire course, because I'm still working my way through this. So I like to, in the software world, like with Deadline Funnel, where someone shows up and, yes, they're putting in their credit card, but there's a 14-day free trial. We're going to give your audience a longer trial, shameless plug. But whatever the trial is, like, our job is to get someone from, okay, I just logged in for the first time, to, holy crap, that was amazing. Like, some sort of amazing wow moment as quickly as possible. Because once you do that, like, then they want to keep moving forward. The momentum continues on its own. It's sort of like the starter engine on your car. Like, its only job is to get the engine to turn over, and then it sits quietly in the background. Like, in fact, if you keep turning the key, like if you hold it on, like, it's going to ruin your car or ruin your starter. But you need to get something to, like, turn that engine over, and then you can drive 50 miles an hour. So that wow that you want to deliver is that starter engine. So I just try to think about, like, what is the thing that is really, it's not like the quantity of things, it's the impact, like, something that has been holding them back. So for example, it might be something, and I'm totally grabbing this out of the air, but it might, like, if you know that the thing that really holds people back, it's not necessarily like the list of gear and stuff like that, but maybe that's for, like, what they're opting in for initially. But maybe what really holds people back is that they actually have some head trash. Like, who the hell, like, why would the world actually want to listen to me? And you've got a module that in 15 minutes completely untwists that messed up wiring in their head. And they're like, holy crap, I never thought of it that way. Like, absolutely. Like, I can do this, and I want to do this. And that's the thing that just completely unblocks them. And they go from having imposter syndrome to feeling like Superman or Superwoman. And they're like, holy crap, like, I can do this. Like, this is, and maybe there's a little drill in there where you're like, hey, just record yourself and, I don't know, post it out on Facebook. And I don't know, something simple where like, holy crap, you helped me do something that I had never done before. And just that little tiny bit of movement got me that, like all of a sudden, like the doors of possibility have swung wide open. What else you got? What else you got? Right. So I don't know if I hit the nail on the head, but like
I think
something that's
so.
really going to help them like blow past like the big roadblock that's holding them back.
I think what I may do is just send out a survey to my existing Download Growth Club members and go, if you had to pick one video or one action step that provide you with the most momentum at the fastest rate possible, which topic or which video would that be? And I can just use that. And like, I have a feeling it's probably the section on podcast player ads, because a lot of people struggle with like Facebook and Instagram ads. And I don't teach doing either of those things. We run ads on podcast players where people are listening to shows, and we pick up subscribers for, $1 or $2 per new subscriber. And it blows people's minds when I teach them this. So I feel like we could get them in 10 minutes or less, a giant win where all of a sudden they just picked up 50 or 100 new subscribers, where a lot of these people aren't doing 100 downloads per episode, not even close. So
Right.
I think something like
can
that.
I plus one this idea?
Yes, yes, let's go.
So do this idea, but then I want you to say, hey, by the way, if I could talk to you real quick about why you chose that thing, just tick the little box. Okay. So once you get like something will stand out. So let's say it's the Facebook ad thing. So then get on the phone, like just like we are right now, or StreamYard or whatever you want to use, and say, hey, I just want to find out, like, tell me, like, if you're going to share this module with a friend who was interested in podcasting, like, what would you say in terms of how it transformed your life? And like, let's start with where were you stuck mentally, or like, what was the sticking point before? And then what you're doing is you kind of want to have, you want to develop testimonials for the concept and the module, not the entire course.
Right.
And so make sure that it's clear, like, look, I'm not asking for a testimonial for the course. I want you to talk about how this concept or how this training module really unlocks something in your business, and like that one thing made all the difference, in your words, right? And so what you'll end up doing is you'll be getting testimonials for the thing that you're selling on the thank you page. So imagine they arrive at the thank you page, and you're saying, look, I surveyed my audience. They told me that this was by far the most life-changing thing. It gave them the quickest win, and really turned their podcast from a hobby into something that was a high revenue generator. And normally you have to pay $2,500 and join my school, and it's totally worth it. But I'm not here to talk to you about that right now. For this, because you're here right now, we've plucked that out, and this is the only time that you'll have this available. Now, there's a countdown timer, but also I want you to listen to 5 of my students talk about how the module that you have in your hands right now, that you can grab right now, as long as you don't wait too long and let it slip through your fingers, how it has changed their life. So here we go. And then you play, like the quick reel of people just, just going off about how this was like really freaking life-changing. And then like there's almost no, like if you're getting the right person to your landing page from your podcast, they already have the know, like, and trust. They've opted in. How are they not going to take action on that, right? How are they not going to? And then on the thank you page after that, like different people have different philosophies. Like, do you make them an offer after that? Like, my feeling would be at that point, hey, listen, you made a really smart decision. I know this is just the start of your journey. And I have a feeling that we're going to be doing, like, I'm kind of future facing. I have a feeling that we're going to be doing business together, and you're going to be joining the thousands of other clients who have completely changed their life and their business using the information that's included in the Podcast Business School. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to jump in and do the first 3 things right now, because my job is not to fill up your hard drive with like something that, you purchase and you're like, oh yeah, like yet another thing to add to my one day I'll do this thing. Do this thing right now. If you only do one thing, go do this thing right now, and it will completely change your life. Like, we need to get that first domino to tip, because my job is to get you to the point where you realize that you can have a podcast that's going to completely transform your life. So think think like, when I say think like a software company, I mean in the best version of a software company. Like, how can we? It's not just, yes, we got you to enter in your credit card. Congrats, like high five. No, now the sale actually begins, because now we have to convince someone. Don't do the thing with, from the old infomercials, everything had to fold up. You know why? Because they wanted you to shove it under your bed and forget about it. That's why all that shit folds up. Sorry, I said that. But that's why that stuff folds up and goes under your bed, because they want you to forget about it. They don't want you to call up and go, yeah, I need a refund because I don't use this plastic piece of junk. So the opposite of that is actually trying to get people to use your stuff so that they will get the result that they want, so that they're like, holy crap, I have bought so much stuff, but this finally worked. Adam, what else you got? Well, glad you asked. And then the rest is easy.
Damn, Jack, this is good stuff, man. I'm excited to test this out. Like, this is going to happen. I'll definitely have to do a follow-up episode once I get everything implemented. And like, I'm kind of an open book where I pretty much gave everybody my cookbook there and said, all right, here's the recipe that I'm going to use. I'm actually going to do this and implement it. Then I will do an episode breaking it all down. And the interesting thing is I send people through my email funnels and all that. And I'm like, you probably need these things, but also look at what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and then make that work for your brand. So use it as a template. So we have people kind of absorbing the information to gain it, but also to see how I'm doing the process and learn from that. And that's something that I love about this show, is testing new things like this. So let's say they want to dive in right now. Let's say they want to get into the deadline funnel and get going. What's the best way to do that?
Head over to deadlinefunnel.com. Deadline funnel without an S, although we own the S domain too. So deadlinefunnel.com. Yeah. That's something I actually had to negotiate from someone like 5 years ago. Like, hey, can I have that domain? But anyways, deadlinefunnel.com without the S, or just Google Deadline Funnel. It's a 14-day free trial. Now, Adam, we'll get your folks a link that gets them a longer trial. But in the meantime, so that you don't delay and go, oh, well, I'll wait. No, don't wait. What you do is you go and you sign up, and then just ping my friendly support staff and say, hey, Jack, I need to go tell them this in Slack after in just a few minutes. But I will tell my team that when you mention that you came from this show, that we will increase your trial to 30 days. Okay.
Nice.
So that's just something manually that we'll have to do. So all you have to do is reach out to my friendly team. We have the live chat. The live chat is actually live. It's not one of those, we'll get back to you in 3 weeks. It's actually live, not 24/7, but for most of the time. And so, yeah, we'll just boost your trial. And like I said, our job is to help get you to that, like, a moment of wow, so that you will continue forward with it, because we've seen it transform so many lives for so many entrepreneurs. But we got to get you to that first thing. And so a tip that I'll mention right now, and I don't know if we're winding things up, but like, whether it's with Deadline Funnel or with anything else, if it's the podcasting business school, I think, Adam, you'll agree with this bit of advice, which is, you need to get something finished, that bridge that gets your clients from, oh, I heard you on the podcast, to they're actually becoming a client. It can be a shaky bridge. It can be a rope bridge, but it's got to be 100% complete. So build the rope bridge from where they are to where they want to be. It might be ugly. It may not be the best thing, but it's freaking done. Like, it actually gets people who are, bold enough to walk across the bridge over to the other side, and then come back and replace the rope bridge with a wooden bridge, replace the wooden bridge with a steel bridge. Like, don't try to build the frame. So let me just go from the analogy world to like what I'm actually talking about to make this really, really clear. Don't, if someone has a 32-step funnel and it works for them, that's awesome. But if you're starting from zero, do not build the 32-step funnel, the Franken funnel. I'm not throwing shade at the Franken funnel, but the Franken funnel takes a long freaking time to build. Like, build the simple version, the one that we talked about here. I'm not saying that's the only thing that Deadline Funnel does, but I don't want to say, well, here's what you need to do. You need to daisy chain like 5 of these suckers together. like let's work up to it. Let's crawl, then walk, then run, then sprint, right? And so, do something that that you can get done before you run out of time, before you run out of money, before you run out of passion or focus. Get it done. And then, have that wow impact in your own business. See that it's working. And that's all the motivation you will need to build it out better, build it out stronger, build it out longer.
Jack, dude, this has served me. Like this, I don't know if everybody listening, but man, this served the heck out of me. This is, like I said at the beginning, this is a big part of what I'm focusing on this year, where I've always had this, like, I have to be like in their face talking and building relationships. But what I'm starting to discover, the more I learn about email marketing, the more I learn about automated funnels. And with this, especially, is I can insert my unique personality and I can still be friendly and relatable. And I don't have to be sneaky and scammy just because it's automated like that. Those two things don't go together. So I'm very excited about this. I'm a big efficiency nerd, and I see this helping me earn income while I sleep, while I do other things. It's moving people along in the direction that I'd like them to move without me being right there hands-on. And that's something I got to get better at, and you're going to help me. So I appreciate it, man. This conversation has been amazing, and it's exactly what I need to hear.
Yeah, if I could just add in one last thing, and that would be, and it's been amazing to be here. I would just add in that I know that this is something that you teach in your training, but what we've been talking about is really how you can reach a bigger audience. Like the longer that if you take people from know, like, and trust, they've seen your episodes, they've listened to you on the podcast, they're opting in, now they're on your list, and immediately they're getting a choice to become a client. We explain how to do that in a way that's friendly, that's ethical, that's all of those things. What that gives you the ability to do is a couple things. You can reinvest that money into team. So if you need an editor, but you haven't been able to afford it, well, guess what? When you have this working on Evergreen, now it's a lot easier to afford it. Even if it doesn't give you all the money that you need, when is bringing in money, you're like, I see something here. Like, I feel confident. And that's really what you need, right? Confident. I feel confident that I can now hire that next person, even if it's just part-time. Or maybe you've already got someone who's working part-time, but now you're like, God, if I could only just advertise my podcast, I know if I could just reach this audience, I would love to be able to advertise. Well, now you can. And maybe it doesn't pay for all of, Zuckerberg's cost that he's going to charge you to bring people to your podcast. But if you see money coming in, you're going to feel a lot more confident. And so when you feel confident to take these actions that you need to take, that you need to take in order to go from where you are to where you want to be, that confidence starts to build as you start to see results. And then it helps you reach a bigger audience. And so I know that's what you teach in your training, is like how we can turn it, like, love it like a hobby, build it like a business. Why? So that you can reach that bigger audience. And that's what this is about. It's not just filling up the bank account. It's saying, how can I take some of this money that I've got and reinvest it into my business so I can get my message out to the people who need to hear this, who want to hear this. And so that's really what this is about.
Jack Bourne, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, you're up at 5:30 in the morning, Australia time, kicking it. Hardcore knowledge. I hate to see when you're like, you actually are awake for a while, man. This is great. Like you killed it. I appreciate you spending time. I appreciate you getting up early for us. And our relationship is just getting started. You're kind of stuck with me at this point. So just buckle up, man. It's gonna be a fun ride for us.
All right. Ride or die.
All right, pod pals. We gave you a lot of things to cook on here today. There will be more on Deadline Funnel. I will be implementing this. I'll do a follow-up episode. If you guys are in the Download Growth Club, I'm going to bring Jack in for sure to do a little deep dive on how to apply this specifically. If you want to ask him direct questions, that would be a great opportunity. Just saying. And with that, get out there and implement. And I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We will see you next time.